Hi guys, it's Jade. I just wanted to bring you a Bible lesson while you're sitting at home on your couch. But I hope you guys are all doing well and enjoying this time with your family. So, let's do a Bible lesson together. So I was trying to think what would be a good thing for us to learn about while we're at home and while we're not able to be at church. And I thought, well, maybe we could talk about Jesus, right? That's always good. Or maybe we could do like a survey of the Old Testament, which is a lot of fun as well. But I thought it might be even more fun to kind of mix it up a little bit and do a little bit both. Just do a big kind of swath overview of lots of different aspects of the Bible. But in order to help direct us, I chose the alphabet. Yeah, alphabet. Remember this when you were at school? The alphabet. So what we're going to do is use each letter in the alphabet and talk about a different Bible character, Bible trait, something in the Bible that coincides with each letter. So it should be a lot of fun. So we're going to start with letter A. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, maybe we're going to do Abraham, maybe we're going to do Adam, maybe we're going to do Ark, like Noah's Ark, or Ark of the Covenant. Ooh, that's another ark, right? Well, I thought it might be fun to do a character, do a person in the Bible, but maybe one that you haven't spent a lot of time learning about. And so the person we're going to talk about for our A and for our first lesson is Aaron. What? So you might know a little bit about Aaron. Maybe this is the first time you're hearing about him, but he's a really interesting character, and I think we can learn a little bit from his story and apply it to our lives now. So just to talk a little bit quicker about Aaron and who he was. Aaron was the older brother of somebody you've probably heard of, probably know a lot about. Any guesses? Moses. It was Moses. So Moses had an older brother, 3 years older than him, named Aaron. Again, we hear a lot about Moses. He was a baby in a basket going down the thing. We hear about the burning bush. He goes into, Egypt to get the Israelites. So many big moments for Moses. There are also some big moments for Aaron too, and that's what we're going to talk about. So just to set the scene of our story, I want you to picture Moses and his brother Aaron are headed into Egypt to talk to Pharaoh. So they've got a message from God, and God said, listen, the Israelites are stuck in Egypt. I need you to get in there and lead them out of there. You got to convince Pharaoh to let you do it. So this is a big deal, right? So you can imagine how Moses and his brother were feeling. And also, too, it's important to kind of take note of their age. So the Bible tells us that at this time, Aaron was 83 years old. So he's an 83-year-old man going in to see Pharaoh. So, picture him with his wrinkles, maybe, and maybe he's kind of hunched over a little bit, cute little old man. But he had a big job, right? Because it was something from God. This was a big deal. So Moses and Aaron are headed into Egypt, headed to see Pharaoh. And God told them, listen, what I want you to do is take your staff with you. Aaron, take your staff. And a staff is like a rod. It might have had a hook on it like a candy cane. The Bible doesn't tell us too much. It might have just been a long, tall stick. But he wanted Aaron to take his rod, his staff, in with him to see Pharaoh. And then he wanted him to throw it on the ground and it would turn into a snake, right? A serpent. This story has snakes in it. Right? This is going to be a big deal. And so when that happens, the goal was that Pharaoh would see this and be like, oh, these guys are really from God. That's it. No more messing around. Israelites, you're free to go. There's the door. That was the plan, right? So I drew a little picture to help us out. So we got Aaron right here, who's the star of our story. We have Moses right here with a little M there. In the back, we have two sorcerers. This story has sorcerers. Yes, it does. And then we have Pharaoh over here. So you can tell he looks a little bit upset. Probably what pharaohs do. So in our story, we know what's going to happen. They got their message from God, and now it's time to let God shine. So Aaron, Moses walk in, and Aaron has his rod, throws it on the ground, and snake. Absolutely. So let's draw in a snake. So that way we can remember that there's a snake. So there's our snake. Aaron throws his rod down, boom, instantly a snake. This is going to be good, right? Well, here's what happens. Pharaoh's like, sorcerers, please come forward. And the sorcerers ambled up. They had rods too. They threw their rods on the ground and snakes. Their rods turned into snakes too. This is awful. So now we have to draw in those. More snakes. Those snakes were everywhere. Oh, this is not looking good. And so this is also, now we have a floor full of snakes. If you weren't screaming, then you're probably screaming now. Floor full of snakes, right? This is tough stuff. I think it's important to pause here and talk a little bit about this. So if you were Moses and Aaron, how would you feel right now? Yeah, so God let you know that yours is going to turn into a snake. That's expected. But you didn't think the sorcerers were going to have the snakes too. Oh my goodness. So now what's the difference? How is Pharaoh going to know that Moses and Aaron are from God and that these sorcerers aren't? How is Pharaoh, how is he going to listen to them? This is scary. And sometimes we feel like this, right? Sometimes we might feel like God is pointing us in a certain direction. He wants us to do a certain thing, and we do that thing, but then maybe it doesn't feel right, or maybe something bad happens. You're like, well, why did I do this good thing? So there can be sometimes some confusion. But it's so important to know that even though we feel like that, God has not left us. He is still very much a part of this story, even though it feels like he's leaving Moses and Aaron out to dry a little bit and leaving them by themselves. He's still in control of this story, and he's still in control of our story as well, which is really comforting. But it is important to acknowledge it's a little uncomfortable right now for those two. I'm sure they're kind of looking around like, ooh, crickets, what do we do? Well, here's the good part. What happens is all the snakes are on the ground, and then all of a sudden, Aaron's snake starts to eat up and gobble up the other snakes till his is the only one left, which makes a lot of sense too, because our God is the only God, and our God is the same one that Moses and Aaron worshipped as well. And so the only snake left was Aaron. So that's where God's finishing out the story. He's not leaving them embarrassed. And so you might be thinking, cool, so surely Pharaoh's gonna buck up and say, yeah, but Israelites, get out of here. Not happening. The Bible tells us that God hardened his heart, meaning that he wasn't swayed by this at all. And then after this, what's going to happen is Aaron and Moses are going to leave, and then starts the plagues, which you've probably learned about. You know, the river turning into blood, the locusts, the hail, the frogs, the gnats, everything. I always said locusts again. It was bad. A lot of locusts. But yeah, that's going to come next. And so eventually, though, what's going to happen? Pharaoh is going to let the Israelites go. They're going to wander around in the desert for 40 years, waiting, looking for the promised land. But it is really important to know that Moses, his brother Aaron, was a big part of this story, even though we may not hear Bible lessons about him so much. He was definitely there. Now, it wasn't always good. There were times, and the Bible tells us, that he disobeyed. Like there was a time where he melted down earrings that the Israelites had gave him. He made an idol, and Moses came down from Mount Sinai and was like, why are you guys having an idol? And they're like, well, we thought you would never come down, so we just built this idol so we could worship something. So anyway, it gets destroyed. It gets ground up. So picture all these little gold particles. And then they're forced to drink those particles. Crazy, right? It's a lot of story for Aaron. But he lives to be 123 years old, which is really cool. He was also a high priest, and the Bible tells us that he had this really interesting outfit that he wore with different stones and the placement of stones. So, so many cool things to learn and to read about Aaron, and you can do that throughout the week. You can ask your parents about that, grandparents even, aunts, uncles, see if they know any stories about Aaron. Sometimes we may not picture too many, but maybe somebody does, right? So that's the cool thing about Aaron, is that he is in a great part of the Bible. Towards the beginning, Exodus is when he comes in. And it's so important for us to remember that he made some good choices and followed what God said, right? With throwing his staff on the ground, he believed that God was going to turn it into a snake. It happened. But there were also some bad choices. So like with the idols and the melting down of the earrings. But then he got to be the high priest. So there's so many different kind of ups and downs with his story. And that's true for us too, right? Sometimes we have really good days where we're taking out the trash without being asked. We're picking up our toys. We're doing all this great stuff. But then there's other days where maybe we're shoving our sibling. Or maybe we're not listening as well as we should. And that happens sometimes, right? And so just like Aaron, though, he was chosen by God, we're chosen by God too. We all have different jobs and different ways to serve God. And so even though we make a mistake, we're always allowed the opportunity for grace and forgiveness and to come back and make everything okay. So I hope you... Oh, wait, I don't want you to go yet. There's a craft, right? Wouldn't be a Sunday Bible lesson without a craft. And so the attachment has been sent. Of course, we're going to make snakes, right? So on each page, there's going to be 2 snakes. So you can color both of them, decorate them, however you want to do. And then you cut them out. And you might be thinking, like, this is weird. It's got these 2 kind of funny flap things. Well, what will happen is once you're done decorating the snake, once you cut it out, make sure to keep those little funny flap things. What you can do is put it on your finger, right? And then tape the flap down. Should have taped it. Tape the flap down, and then bend the head a little bit, and then you have a snake finger puppet. Yeah, you can scare people with it. No, don't scare people with it. But this is to help us remember that Aaron's rod turned into a serpent and ate up all the other snakes in front of Pharaoh. And it was all because God was with him and God chose him for a special job. All right. Well, have fun. Enjoy making your snakes. Like I said, there's 2 on every page, so you can make some. Family could make some. You have a whole bunch of snakes hanging out at your house. But the next lesson I'll do will be the letter B. So you can kind of think, maybe, what are we going to talk about with B? Is it going to be blessings? Baby Jesus? I don't know. You'll have to watch the video, next video, and find out. But thanks so much for spending a little bit of time with me. I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. I miss you so much. I miss hearing your sweet voices and your laughing. But we'll be together again. And until then, this is kind of something fun for us to do and to still learn about God and His Word, since He is always with us, no matter what, even when we're not in the building, right? Well, I hope you have a wonderful week, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything I can help out with. Also, too, if you want to take some guesses at what some of the letters might be, do that too. You might be right? I don't have any prizes to give, but I might be right. But have a wonderful week, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you. Bye, guys.